Welcome to a new deep dive. Today we're tackling something, well, something that affects us all: communication. It's so vital, but gosh, it can also be incredibly anxiety-inducing for so many.
Absolutely. And we've got some fantastic source material today. We're diving into excerpts from How to Talk to Anyone, Anytime, Anywhere by the legend himself, Larry King, along with Bill Gilbert.
And King kicks things off with this really provocative choice.
Mm.
I mean, think about this. Would you rather jump out of an airplane without a parachute
Ooh.
or sit next to someone you've never met at a dinner party? Seriously.
Mm.
He says many of us actually dread that dinner party more.
It sounds extreme, but, it kind of resonates, doesn't it? That social fear can be paralyzing.
Exactly. And that's where Larry King comes in. This is the man who talked to, well, everyone. Mikhail Gorbachev, storm door salesman, you name it, for 37 years.
Mm-hmm.
And his argument is powerful. Talking
Yeah.
isn't just nice. It's the actual road to success, to connections, a skill we all need.
And that really frames our mission for this deep dive, doesn't it? We're not just talking about, smooth small talk here.
No, definitely not.
We're digging into the fundamental principles of successful conversation that King honed over decades. We want to pull out those secrets.
Like overcoming shyness.
Exactly. Overcoming shyness, mastering listening, navigating those tricky social situations, even business talk.
And what's fascinating, I think, is how King, with endorsements from people like Henry Kissinger and Dan Rather, he simplifies it all.
He really does. He boils it down to surprisingly human truths. We'll get into his key rules, like being prepared, really listening.
And keeping your sense of humor.
Mhm.
Can't forget that one.
Never. These aren't just tips. They feel more like shifts in how you approach interacting with people.
Okay, so let's unpack that core philosophy. King distills the successful conversation down to what, 4 basic ingredients?
Oh, that's right. Think of it like a recipe. Honesty, the right attitude, genuine interest in the other person, and openness about yourself.
And he really hammers home the idea that talking is a skill.
Just like playing golf or learning to drive, he says. Some people might have a bit of a head start, a natural knack.
Sure, we all know those people.
But everyone, and he really means everyone, can get much better with practice and, crucially, understanding these fundamentals.
He even shares his own inauspicious debut story. Miami Beach, 1957, first radio job.
Oh, yeah, the dry mouth, the nerves. Classic first-day jitters, but amplified.
And then his boss, Marshall Simmons, kicks open the door and yells, "This is a communications business."
Talk about pressure, but it was a turning point, wasn't it?
It was. King learned to just be honest about it, even on air, saying he was nervous. And paradoxically, that made him a better talker.
It connects back to that right attitude he talks about, the willingness to try even when you're uncomfortable.
And the commitment to improve, right? Seeing every chat as practice.
That honesty piece is so crucial. King found that telling his audience he was nervous, like on his first TV show, it built instant trust.
Yeah, makes you relatable, human.
Exactly. It's not about being this perfect, polished speaker. It's about being genuine, which, raises the question, if it is a skill, how do you actually practice? Besides just, talking more.
Right, it's not always easy to just jump into more conversations if you're shy.
King suggests some really simple things. Talking aloud to yourself, practicing in the car, even talking to a mirror to work on eye contact.
Like batting practice for conversation?
Precisely. You integrate it into your daily routine, make it a habit. So when the real thing happens, you're already warmed up, so to speak.
Okay, so let's move to the other ingredients: interest in the other person and openness about yourself. King really believed his audience could tell if he was genuinely interested.
Mm-hmm. He quotes Will Rogers. Everybody is ignorant, only on different subjects.
I love that quote.
Me too. And the flip side is, everyone's an expert on something, even if it's just their own life experience. So you have to respect that and really listen.
But what about the openness part? How much do you share about yourself? Where's the line?
That's a great question. King makes it clear it's not about, spilling all your deepest secrets on a first meeting.
Definitely not oversharing.
No, it's more about being willing to share some background, your likes, dislikes, little things. It creates a sense of connection. It signals trust.
Like saying, I trust you enough to show you a little bit of who I am.
Exactly. And that often encourages the other person to open up too. He mentions people like Regis Philbin and Kathie Lee Gifford being great at this.
And King himself was open, wasn't he? About being from Brooklyn, being Jewish, even his stutter.
Right. He talks about Mel Tillis, the country singer, who also stuttered. Tillis put it right out there, used humor about it, and gained huge respect.
So it's about not hiding parts of yourself.
Yeah. King argues that this freedom from pretense makes the conversation more enjoyable for everyone involved.
Okay, but for a lot of us, myself included sometimes, the biggest hurdle is just starting, breaking the ice, especially with total strangers.
It's huge. And King's key insight here is simple but powerful. Remind yourself the other person is probably just as shy as you are.
That helps, knowing you're likely not alone in feeling awkward.
Definitely. He tells this amazing story about interviewing a decorated WWII ace pilot, a hero, right?
Yeah.
And the guy had super sweaty palms because he was so nervous about the interview.
Wow. Even an ace pilot.
Exactly. And King's first questions about the technical side of flying, they just fell flat, dead ends.
Which is where most of us might panic or give up.
Right. But King pivoted. Instead of the mechanics, he asked about the pilot's fear. The fear of the unknown, the war.
Ah, the human element.
Totally. And suddenly the interview transformed into this passionate, engaging discussion about flight, sure, but also about life, fear, experience. It wasn't just facts anymore.
That's brilliant, finding that common ground, even in something unexpected like fear.
And it taps into what Benjamin Disraeli said, right? People love talking about themselves. That applies across the board.
So how do we find those entry points? King gives some practical openers, doesn't he?
Yeah, really useful ones. Current events are usually safe. The weather, he calls it a can't-miss and completely safe subject.
The classic reliable.
It works. Or noticing things in someone's space, their office, their home, a picture, a kid's drawing. These aren't just random comments, they're invitations.
They open a door into their world.
Precisely. They make it relevant to them, which instantly makes it more engaging for both sides.
So if we're trying to open doors, what about the type of questions we ask? King has a strong warning here, right?
He does. Yes-no questions. He calls them the enemy of good talk.
Because they just stop the conversation.
Exactly. You ask, isn't this hot weather awful? What do you get? Yes. End of story.
Right. Dead air.
But if you rephrase it, something like, wow, all these hot summers lately make me wonder about that whole global warming thing. What do you think?
Ah, now you've opened it up. You invite opinion, thought.
Now you have a real conversation starter. You might actually learn something.
Which brings us to maybe the most crucial rule King talks about. If you can't learn anything while you're talking.
Then the first rule has to be listen.
Simple, but so hard sometimes.
It really is. King credited his own success, especially with tough interviews like Dan Quayle or Ross Perot, to listening, really listening.
He wasn't just ticking off his prepared questions.
Not at all. He listened to the answers and let those lead him to the next question, often somewhere unexpected. He quotes Dale Carnegie.
To be interesting, be interested. A classic.
It holds up, doesn't it? You have to genuinely encourage people to share. And that only happens if you're truly tuned in.
And it's not just listening with your ears, is it? He talks about body language, eye contact.
But he cautions against forcing body language. He felt it should be natural.
Not contrived.
Right. But eye contact is key. Not staring, obviously.
Please don't stare.
No. But maintaining contact throughout the conversation, maybe a slight lean forward. It just physically signals, I'm engaged, I'm with you.
So taking a step back, King also touches on taboos, right? Things you maybe shouldn't bring up.
Yeah, he acknowledges that while things are maybe more open now, some topics, salary, abortion, really divisive stuff, still need care and discretion.
Knowing your audience, reading the room.
Exactly. Ultimately, he says the key word for good social conversation is relevance.
Relevance. Talk about what connects to the other person, what they might be interested in or have heard about.
It's about finding that shared territory. That's where the real connection happens.
And he gets really practical about specific situations, like cocktail parties. Those can be intimidating.
Oh, definitely. Big crowds. His advice, don't try to conquer the whole room. Find a one-on-one spot, makes it much less overwhelming.
Smart. And what if you get stuck talking to someone who's, well, a bit of a bore?
We've all been there. King offers some graceful exits, the classic, excuse me, I need to visit the restroom.
Always reliable.
Or, even better sometimes, introduce them to someone else. Have you met so-and-so? Spreads the conversational load, so to speak.
Okay, what about small dinner parties? That's a different dynamic.
Yeah, more intimate. King talks about quarterbacking the conversation.
Quarterbacking. Like in football.
Kind of. It means choosing a topic that everyone on a table can potentially weigh in on. He loves what-if questions.
Like, what if aliens landed tomorrow?
Ooh.
Or something more serious?
Could be either. What if North Korea keeps stonewalling? Or what if you found an earthquake fault under your dream house? Things that solicit opinions.
And involving everyone, even the quiet ones.
Yes. Using what he calls the Kissinger method. Simply asking, what do you think? Directly to the shy person.
But the key is not to hog the ball yourself, right?
Absolutely critical. You're the facilitator, not the lecturer. You guide it, you don't dominate it.
This idea of adapting seems key.
Right.
He even talks about talk between the sexes, which he says could be the hardest.
Yeah, potential for different styles, misinterpretations. His advice is pretty straightforward, though. Be candid and test the waters.
Test the waters.
Like, bring up a current event, a stock market dip, a big trial verdict, and ask their opinion. See if it resonates.
And if it doesn't?
No big deal. It's just a signal. Pivot. Find another topic. It's trial and error, not failure.
That takes the pressure off. What about really sensitive times, like weddings or especially funerals?
Funerals are tough. King strongly advises against cliches, especially "I know how you must feel," because you probably don't.
Right. It can feel dismissive, even if well-intentioned.
His advice is, offer genuine compassion, respect, keep it brief. He tells a touching story about his agent Bob Wolf's funeral.
Yes, with the Larry Bird story.
That's the one. A moment of humor that provided real comfort. King's rule of thumb. Say what you would want to hear in that situation. Something sincere.
Simple, powerful advice. And finally, what about talking to famous people? Celebrities.
His advice is almost anti-advice. Don't be intimidated. Don't stereotype them.
Treat them like people.
Pretty much. Ask about their other interests, not just their job. Ask Woody Allen about the Knicks, not just his movies. Ask Paul Newman about his charity work.
It humanizes them, leads to a real conversation.
Exactly. And these same core ideas, openness, respect, listening, carry right over into his advice on business talk.
So the principles are universal.
Largely, yes. For business, he stresses, be direct and open, use plain language, ditch the jargon, and respect people's time.
In job interviews, that's high-stakes communication.
Absolutely. You're selling yourself, as he puts it, his rules. Show what you can do. Be open and positive. Be prepared. Research the company. And ask questions.
Asking questions shows you're engaged, curious.
Definitely. Enthusiasm counts. And whether you're talking to your boss or someone who reports to you, the golden rule applies. Talk to them like you'd want them to talk to you.
No apple polishing, just professional, open dialogue.
Creates mutual respect. It's foundational.
So, pulling it all together, King identifies some common traits in the truly great talkers. What sets them apart?
He lists 8 things. First, they look at things from new angles, like Sinatra singing an old song in a completely fresh way.
They offer a different perspective.
Exactly. Second, they have broad horizons. They're curious about lots of things, like Governor Mario Cuomo, who could discuss anything. Third, enthusiasm. Genuine passion.
Those make sense.
What else? Crucially, they don't just talk about themselves all the time. They're curious, always asking why. And they empathize. They can put themselves in the other person's shoes.
He calls empathetic hosts commiserators, right? Like Oprah or Dick Cavett.
That's right. They connect on that emotional level. They also have a sense of humor, especially about themselves. King says, never stay too serious too long.
Good life advice in general.
Isn't it? And finally, they have their own unique style. They're authentic.
Okay, so if those are the traits of great talkers, what are the things that get in the way? What inhibits good communication?
King points out a few common traps. One is inflated words.
Jargon. Buzzwords.
Exactly. Using impact as a verb or saying utilize when use works perfectly well. He's a big fan of plain talk.
Keep it simple.
And avoid trendy talk, those cliches that pop up everywhere like "I kid you not," and then are the nothing words.
The fillers, like,
Precisely, basically, hopefully used incorrectly, whatever. And the classic and
They really clutter things up, don't they? And can make you sound less confident.
They do. They often signal you haven't really thought through what you want to say, or you're not confident saying it.
That's excellent advice, but it's tough sometimes. When you're nervous or put on the spot, those ums and just slip out. Does King offer any quick fixes for that?
He does offer strategies, though maybe not instant fixes. It takes practice. He suggests really listening to yourself, maybe even record yourself speaking sometimes.
Ooh, that can be painful, but effective.
It can. Also, scripting key thoughts beforehand for important talks helps. And maybe the most practical tip, enlist a speech monitor.
A trusted friend or partner.
Yeah, someone who can gently point out when you're using those filler words. Just building that awareness is the first big step to breaking the habit.
Awareness and conscious effort. Makes sense. And there's one more area he tackles that's still very relevant: political correctness.
Mm-hmm. He acknowledges it can sometimes feel like hysteria, but he also makes a crucial point. Words matter. They carry ideas.
And language evolves.
Exactly. He uses examples like the shift from Negro to African American or Hispanic to Latino. Terminology changes. The key, he says, is always to convey respect and try not to cause offense.
So it's not about being paranoid, but about being sensitive.
That's the balance. Avoid overemphasis to the point of fear, but always prioritize sensitivity. Know your audience, adapt thoughtfully, aim for connection, not accidental alienation.
Wow. Okay, we've covered so much ground here, diving into Larry King's wisdom, from his own shaky start
Right, that first radio gig.
to these core principles: honesty, listening, genuine interest, navigating parties, funerals, business deals. It's all there.
It really feels like the thread connecting it all is this idea that great communication isn't just some innate talent, it's a skill you develop.
Rooted in empathy, right?
Yeah.
And being authentic, not putting on an act.
Absolutely. And looking at King's whole career, you see why he could talk to anyone, anytime, anywhere. It's because he actively cultivated these
He was
things.
always learning, adapting.
And just genuinely interested in the person sitting across from him. That curiosity was immense. His whole life was really a masterclass in empathetic conversation.
So what does this all mean for you, listening right now? Well, King leaves us with a final, perhaps surprising thought. It's called On Shutting Up.
Huh. After a whole book on talking.
Exactly. He says, no matter how brilliant a talker you are, there are times when it's better to remain silent. Trust that gut feeling telling you to stay out of it sometimes.
Sometimes silence is the best communication. Giving space. Observing.
It's a powerful point.
And maybe for you, listening, here's a final thought to chew on. We live in this world just saturated with noise, information, everyone shouting their opinions.
If Larry King, one of the greatest communicators ever, said his core secret was basically to listen to the other guy and be interested, how much could your conversations change if you really, truly focused on that?
Just that one principle.
Yeah. What new ideas, what different perspectives might you uncover? What deeper connections could you make just by focusing more on understanding the other person instead of just planning what you're going to say next?